Hello, everyone. This is the Dragon King. Welcome to Dragon King 72 Media LLC on my YouTube channel, Dragon King 72 Media LLC on my TikTok channel, Dragon King 72 Media LLC on my Instagram, and Dragon King 72 Media on X, formerly known as Twitter. All of it is Dragon King 72 Media LLC. Today is the last day of Pride Month. Today is June the 30th. 2026, and today is the last day of LGBTQIA plus Pride Month, which includes all of us, all the L, the G, the B, the T, the QIA plus, and also for our allies. But today also was a different kind of day because the Supreme Court came down and said that it was 6 out of the 9 came down and said that state by state basis, and it's on a state by state basis, transgender kids and adults, transgender women, and transgender girls can be banned from women's sports. And that is based on what the Supreme Court looked at, the evidence that was presented to them, and they made their decision today, June the 30th, 2026. Having made that decision, quite a few people are happy about that. Females, born females in athletic sports, their parents, their allies, both male, female, a lot in the LGBTQIA plus community. And so I wanted to just kind of go deeper into that and look at it from all sides. A lot of females, born females, they have athletic talent, huge athletic talent. And they go into spaces where it's about them. It's about them competing and winning, right? And so they want to feel like they're going in with other born females and not transgender women. I'm looking at it from their side, and they don't feel like that they're going to get the just due, the just treatment of being able to compete with other natural born females. They feel cheated. They feel like nobody is really paying attention to what that struggle is. You know what I'm saying? And so they feel like a trans woman who was born male should not be competing because biologically the skills are going to be higher. You know what I'm saying? The biological male is going to be stronger, faster, and what have you. So, and so there's not going to be anything that they can do as far as winning the competition. And one young lady, she was on CNN. I saw her earlier today. She was discussing how she went to whatever university she went to on a scholarship as a female athlete, and she was unavailable. She lost to a young trans woman who they had featured in a clip on the show on CNN. If you want to look it up, you can look it up. All right. So then, whoever this woman was next to her, she felt really strongly about making sure that all the states make sure that trans women cannot compete in trans girls and trans women cannot compete in natural born female sports. And of course they mention, having their own sports and things like that, and for trans people. And I've heard that before, right? And so she went on to say that this is a great thing, and she mentioned how the young trans person that she was referring to, she used the word he, so she misgendered him on purpose. And she said how he was committing sexual assault acts inside the girls' locker room and saying vulgar things like the train. She again, this is her words. He said that he was gonna put his genitals inside her mouth or whatever. Meanwhile, I haven't seen any proof of that. Nobody has heard about it. She couldn't give you proof, just hearsay. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm just saying that when you're making statements like that, hopefully you're on national television making statements about things that somebody says in regards to threats. So to me, that sounds like, a defamation suit. But if it's no big deal to the young trans girl that they were referring to, then I guess it's not a big deal to anybody else. Okay, now here's my thing. I and I by no means agree with the violence, agree with the on either side. Whether it's a trans person being accused of assaulting uh, natural female born women, and I say natural females as in, born as a female, not as a woman. Hear me out. You know what I'm saying? Trans women and women are women, but natural born female, that's a different thing. And so, violence is just need on either side. And hopefully that's the first thing we can address, what I'm saying, with these issues with trans girls, trans women against natural born female girls and female born women. And so that's the first thing. And that's something that unfortunately is something, that has to have a real conversation. It has to be an authentic and genuine, embracing, respectable, civilized conversation that really needs to be had, like a huge panel. And one of those people will be Hope Giselle. I would love to see her on there. T.S. Madison. I would love to see Laverne Cox. I would love to see Angelica Ross. I would love to see Dominique. And I would love to see those women. I have no desire to see Flame Monroe on any of those panels, because I can. It's not gonna go well. You know what I'm saying? But I would love to see one of those beautiful, intelligent trans women have conversations with natural born females, where they could have a conversation, and really get things, talked out. Is it going? Things are going to be worked out? Probably not. But the conversation can be had in a civilized, respectful way. And people like Hope Giselle, T.S. Madison, Dominique, Angelica Ross, Laverne Cox, and many others whose names escapes me at the moment. They could really have some real thought-provoking conversations about it with natural-born females who are going to have a civilized, intellect conversation about it. Here's the thing. Now that this is the Supreme Court has ruled this a state-by-state thing, and like I said, because they're going to ban trans girls and trans women from playing in natural-born female sports, where does it end? And the question, stop. And the question was asked. The question was asked The question was asked by one of the no, it was asked by the person who was doing the interview to one of the young lady to the women, and she avoided the question, "Where does this end?" You know what I'm saying? She avoided the question when she asked her, "Does this end? Do you want it to go outside of the sports world?" And she couldn't answer that question, because I'm quite sure her answer probably would have been yes. That's the vibe that she was giving off, as if that would be the case. And for me, I sensed it right away that that would be the situation. She would want to ban trans women from all public places outside of sports. She was asked that question, but she didn't answer. This was the older woman, who I'm not sure if she was the mother of the young lady who was the athlete on the CNN interview. And so where would that end? Do you ban them? Do you ban them from the library? Do you ban them from the grocery store? Do we start to ban them from public events? Do we ban them from um, going to Walmart or Target, for those of you that still do that? Do we ban them from walking down the street? Do we ban them from getting on the bus? Do we ban them from just hanging around their own kids and their own loved ones who are of a certain age? Do we just ban them completely? Because I feel like that's the next step, to ban them from all places in society. And that's the question that she kept diverting around when she was asked the question. And that's my question too. Does it stop at the sports? You know what I'm saying? Does it where does it end? You know what I'm saying? Is it going to continue throughout every aspect of society? And another thing, people keep talking about, and I've said this on my channel before. People keep talking about, they keep saying, we should have trans sports. I've laid out the whole outline as to why this wouldn't be a thing, probably more than 2 years, a year, but 2 years optimistically, because you have to get sponsors for this. And in this climate, and the word I just said, in this climate, is negates everything that I'm about to say. Because in this climate, people don't like trans. They don't like anybody in LGBTQI plus unless they are co-signing with their extreme right ways. And so for me, that's not a good thing. Because let's just say, and I've said this before, let's say somebody like, I don't know, Pepsi. Pepsi decides to sponsor trans sports in all aspects, right? How many hours, how many days, how many seconds or minutes do you think that it is going to take until Pepsi starts losing billions of dollars in everything that they own? They're going to start losing billions of dollars, because the moment that it is announced that Pepsi, and this is just an example, that Pepsi is sponsoring the Trans Women Olympics of sports, their stock is going to plummet. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is the people who are anti-LGBTQIA plus, anti-DEI, anti-black, anti-minority, anti-every fucking thing that's not right, or white Christian nationalist or heterosexual. The company is fucking over with. The same thing will happen the way the Bud Light. Bud Light was losing billions. And what's funny about that Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney story is Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch was not even going to put the beers with Dylan's face on any shelves. They did it because Dylan said, "Oh, I love Bud Light," and Dylan had made so many social media posts about loving Bud Light, drinking it and everything. They said, "Okay, we're gonna do something special for Dylan. We're gonna put his face on Bud Light," but the beer was never going on anybody's shelves. It was never going in any distribution warehouses. It was just a personal thank you to him for for hyping up the brand and bringing awareness to, hey, you've got people in the LGBTQI plus that love a good Bud Light beer on a hot summer day, or just coming home from work, or just having just reflect on life, open up a can of beer, and that's all it was. But unfortunately, it was seen as, they're trying to turn upside down their supporters and the people who buy their stuff. And that's just was not the case. And that's the real story behind all that. Now, just imagine if Pepsi did that. Pepsi had, let's say, T.S. Madison, or another trans person, Angelica Ross, or I can't think of any white trans people other than Dylan Mulvaney. It just escapes me. I know I should know, but I don't. But those are the people that are in my culture, and I know them and I support them, so that would make sense that I would know their names. However, it would be a fucking disaster for Pepsi. As good natured, as supportive as they would be and are trying to support the LGBTQIA plus community, by doing something like that, it would be a disaster for them financially, publicly, you know what I'm saying, marketing wise, it would, So this idea that, oh, they wouldn't get sponsored. And there's not enough gay people in the world that would sponsor trans sports. Not because they wouldn't want to, it's because it takes money. It takes collateral to pull this shit off. It just takes collateral to pull this shit off. So, side note, somebody said on my content was too long. Well, if you don't want to listen, brother, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on in my head. And the videos that I've made so far is just hitting the surface. So if it's too long, you can skip through the parts you want to skip through, or just, I don't know, unsubscribe, whatever you need to do. But, and then anonymously, they couldn't do it. Can you imagine? Anonymously, they couldn't do it either. They couldn't do it because somebody would find them out. Then they would expose them. Single people, there's rich gay people in the world, but you know what I'm saying? They can't be the one to sponsor the event every year unless they're making a lot of money. It takes sponsorships. It takes commercial sponsors. And people like Pepsi, just as an example that I use, it takes money. They got it, but shit, somebody else needs to contribute. You see what I'm saying? So, and I just hate when people say that shit. Oh, start your own transport. Nobody is going to continue to support it. It may get a nice start, but in the end, it ain't gonna last probably more than 2-3 years, because in this climate, people are just not gonna support it, and that's the unfortunate part about it. It's going to take more than just gay people to support the Trans Olympics, trans LGBTQIA sports, trans sport. It's going to take straight folks too, and straight folks with a lot of fucking money. And see, that's what y'all not paying attention to. That's the problem. That's what y'all not paying attention to. You're going to need public support of it for people. Come on, Duke. You're going to need public support of it, and that requires somebody publicly out here supporting trans, regardless of their career, regardless of the kickback. But because they're doing it because it means something to them. It's coming from the bottom of their heart, and they're going to have to take that risk. Now, what celebrity, particularly black celebrity, is going to support trans Olympics, trans sports? You're not going to find that many. It's just not going to happen. And that's the part about it, that's the problem. That's the problem. Come on, we're finna go back in. So, like I said, you know, so make no mistake. Make no mistake. The whole trans movement, movement as far as trans sports, how many people in the comments will support it that's straight? Not the LGBTQ, but how many people that is straight, male or female, will support trans sports, trans Olympics? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. I want to see something. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And y'all enjoy the rest of Pride. What's left of it? We got 3 hours. Go out and have a good time. Go get some yummy, you know what I'm saying? Because you ain't 3 hours left. But, happy Pride. And I hope it was a good Pride for you and your allies. And, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And happy Pride, the last 3 hours of it. And I hope we get better, and 2027 is better. All right? Peace out. Y'all be safe. And as I say to my LGBTQIA plus community, exercise your Second Amendment rights. That's all I have to say. Peace out.